Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here then my name's Holly. I'm obsessed with the colour yellow and I have a diagnosis of autism, and in today's video I want to start a new series that I really just got the idea for today, but I really want to start a new series of talking about different autistic traits and how they can present in people. I have a lot to say about autism and society's views on autism, and I am always one to say, well, people just don't understand it, and I get frustrated because there could be so many things that people could be doing to accommodate for autistic people that I get frustrated when they don't. But then I think actually maybe they don't know what could help an autistic person or someone with autism. So I kind of get annoyed at these things and then don't do anything about them myself, because I sort of think, well, what difference is one small person going to make? But I want to be a part of the change and a part of a better future for neurodivergent people and people on the spectrum, and that starts with this one video. So if you are new here, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to receive notifications every time I upload a new video. And without further ado, let's get on to the video. So today I'm going to be talking about something that is very common in autistic people, which is masking. I want to start off with, I was going to say it's a statistic. It's not really a statistic, but more of a fact, that it is so much more likely for female people on the autistic spectrum to be undiagnosed due to masking. Now, you might be saying to yourself, but what exactly is masking? Well, let me tell you. Masking is basically where someone changes who they are and how they behave to fit in with society and to disguise the fact that they are autistic and feel different to other people. So it's very common for people on the autistic spectrum to mask. A few of these reasons might be to fit in with society, because they might feel different to other people or like different things to people, and maybe they just want to be liked and fit in and make friends, so they think, well, I'll try and be like them and be like what they're into, so that they'll like me and I'll fit in more. And they slowly take different parts of different people and different things until they sort of lose their self and their own identity and become a whole other person that sometimes they don't even recognise anymore. Sometimes they are aware that they're doing this and sometimes they're not. So, like I said, sometimes they take on interests of other people and they might sort of copy things that other people might do. For example, if someone goes into school wearing a headband with a bow on it and everyone thinks she's so cool, then someone with autism might go, oh, so if I want to be cool, I've got to go in wearing a bow in my hair tomorrow. And then they do that exact thing, even though they might not necessarily want to wear a bow in their hair. But they do it to fit in because they don't necessarily feel accepted. Another thing that someone might do to mask is suppressing how they really feel. So I try to be really honest on my channel about living with autism and the ups and downs of it, maybe more so the downs than the ups. But I sort of see that as a good thing, because my whole life I have never found talking about my feelings easy or comfortable. And I suppose I find it easier talking to a camera because although I'm telling people, it's not necessarily direct to the person. But a lot of people will not say how they feel because, again, they want to be accepted or not bother people, or they don't want, you know, to put the attention on them or things like that. So, for example, every time, well, not every time, but most of the time that someone has a conversation with me, it will sort of roughly go like this. Hey Holly, how are you? I'm okay, thanks. Insert name here. How are you? Yeah, I'm good, thanks. And then the conversation continues. I say that quite a lot because it feels like the easiest thing to say, and sometimes I just don't want to go into everything that I'm feeling. But also sometimes I can feel a bit of a burden to people, or that I bother people, and so I just say I'm okay because it's easier and I can I try to deal with things on my own, which isn't always healthy. But someone might say they're okay when they're really not. And this is a form of masking because you don't want to bring the other person's day down. They might not want to be your friend if you're just constantly moaning about things or saying things that are going wrong. People don't want to hear that all the time. So people say they're fine when really they're not. And actually that can be quite exhausting, to keep a smile on their face all the time and act happy and pretend that life is going really well when it's not always. But sometimes we feel like we have to do this in order to be accepted. Another quite common form of masking for autistic people is pushing through sensory discomforts. I'm gonna I could just feel my throat really dry and I was gonna cough. Oh, that's better. What was I saying? Oh yes, sensory difficulties. I'm crying now. This is a difficult one because I understand that not everyone on the autistic spectrum struggles with sensory difficulties. And some people might, rather than having heightened senses, they might have undersensitive senses, if that makes sense. But for people that have heightened sensory difficulties, for example, loud noises, bright lights, textures of clothes or foods, they might push through this discomfort that they feel when they are encountering these sensory difficulties in order to, again, fit in and feel accepted. An example of this is I sometimes struggle with lots of noise on a bus, especially during school kids' hours, and they can be pretty loud and shouting across the bus and sometimes throwing pencils at each other and just screaming, and they're teenagers. I mean, I wasn't like that as a teenager, but I get it. They're so young. But I find it quite difficult because I'm also dealing with the noise that the door makes when it opens and closes, the rattling of the shell of the bus, the bumping of the tyres as we go over speed bumps. There's so many different things that are happening at once that can make me feel overwhelmed. And I feel really self-conscious wearing my ear defenders in public because I don't want people to look at me and think she's weird, or oh yeah, she's clearly autistic, like that's weird, or you know, I feel like people think I'm odd, and I don't like drawing attention to myself, and I don't like the thought of people staring at me because I'm wearing these big chunky ear defenders. And so I will sit on a bus ride and endure all this noise and sensory overwhelm just so I can seem like a normal person, whatever normal is, I guess a neurotypical person, so I don't look odd or weird, and I push through, and that can also be really exhausting, but actually it's really hard, but it's really important to understand that they're just strangers, and the likelihood is you're not going to remember them, they're not going to remember you, you may not even see them again, and yet you're worrying what they think, and you're putting yourself through this discomfort to try and fit in with people that you don't even know. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but yet at the same time, so many people are doing these things. Another example is going to a cafe with your friends, even though you know that they have bright lights in there and that might be really triggering for you, but you're worried that if you don't go to the cafe, then they might not ask you again. So you go anyway, and you sit there and you endure it, even though actually it might be really difficult for you. And so many people do this, and it's the reason why so many people go undiagnosed with autism, because they're trying so hard to manipulate themselves, if you like, into someone or something they're not, to feel accepted in society. When actually we should be teaching people that they should be themselves, and we as a society should accept everyone for themselves and not praise them for looking neurotypical and disguising their autism, because some people will think, oh great, you're doing really well because you sat in that cafe with the bright lights on, or oh, you can't be autistic because you went to that concert and the music was really loud. And they might think you're doing really well because you're doing these things, but actually the people that are doing these things and seem to be doing well are the people we should be most worried about, because really they're probably really struggling inside, but yet they're doing these things to try and fit in. And the whole thing really is a bit messed up, and it's sad that people feel like they have to do these things. And it's only really been over the last couple of years that, or maybe even this past year, that I've started to learn and understand more about autism itself and my journey with autism, and really wanted to advocate for and teach other people more about it. And I'm sort of trying to slowly learn that it's okay to be myself, and people will either like you for you or they won't. But you shouldn't have to change to fit in with someone, or society. And I know that can be hard, because if you spent your whole life masking to try and feel accepted, then sometimes it's just so natural and automatic that you don't always realise you're doing it. And that can be difficult as well. But it's so important to be yourself, and it's important that people, you know, recognise when someone might be masking. For example, when they're at a theatre and the noise is loud, but they've sat there anyway, and you know they're autistic, it might be helpful just to say, are you alright with this noise? I have a pair of headphones if you want to borrow them, or, you know, we could go to a quieter cafe if that would help, so that they're not having to mask. Just knowing that people are there for them and they understand, or even if they can't understand, at least accept, then that is the biggest thing in the world. So anyway, I hope that sort of made sense. I was kind of just making it up as I went along, but that is masking for you and how it might present in autistic people. That's my first video in the series, autistic trait number 1, masking. Let me know in the comments down below if there are any specific topics around autism you want me to talk about, because I really would love to. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to receive notifications every time I upload a new video. And one last thing I wanted to say is, I actually almost masked before I made this video, because lately I have been having quite a few like anxiety-provoking thoughts, I guess, around making my videos. One in particular being, I'm aware that I wear this hoodie a lot, and it's comfortable for me, and it's cozy, it keeps me warm, it's soft, it's sensory comfort. And I'm aware that, you know, it can be boring wearing the same thing over and over again, or I'm not necessarily making an effort to look nice for my videos. And so I almost went and got changed into something nice just to film this. And then I thought, well, how hypocritical would I be if I went and did that and changed so that I thought that people would like my videos more, when I'm talking about trying to unmask and be yourself. So I did wear this, and I'm not going to be sorry for choosing comfort over style, because that's never been me anyway. So there you go. Anyway, this video is long enough as it is. I'll see you on the next one. Bye guys. Me again. I just forgot one thing I wanted to say, which was, I just want to add the fact that not everyone who has autism is able to mask, and that doesn't mean that you are less autistic than someone else, because it is a spectrum, and some people struggle with some things and some people struggle with others, and everyone is different. So just to point that out, that not everyone is able to mask, but it is quite common for autistic people to mask. So anyway, now I'm really going. I've got to make my dinner. Bye.